Shit! Okay! Man just goes zoomy. I was not expecting that. Hello. Damn, I look away for 2 seconds. Shit, I'm not even, like, damn! The Discord didn't even get a ping. How did you get here so fast? Spelling error just went burr. You have been following since June 9th, 2021. Good sir. Hello? Also, your name is so familiar to me. Hi, welcome. Oh 07. Oh 07. Are you one of the few people who went through like the 3 different name changes? But hi. You saw what we're playing. We're playing Stardew Valley because I fixed it because my mods broke yesterday. But we got it. We good. I also downloaded more mods. So y'all about to see some shit. You are about to see chaos, I think, incarnated. Hold up, I gotta do this. I feel like there's one I'm missing. It's fine. We're gonna have a small little crash here because I'm so used to it. I forgot to say I'm going live on Twitter. That's something. Oh, okay. Shit. Also, I might not have played yesterday until 5 a.m. So, when I should be in winter, I'm now in spring. And I don't think two of my mods should be fighting anymore, which is kind of really sad. Because I really liked one of the mods I downloaded, but it fights with my other ones. So yeah, we get another small little crash. Also, my setup is kind of, you know, fighting God right now. So that's also great. I have a Coke. Wait, which version is the... Hold up. Oh shit, started crashed! Yes! That hasn't happened in a while. This song 100% is gonna get sniped. Such a good song. Your name is familiar, I just can't remember where you... You probably know me as either Air Ren or... No, not that. You probably know me as Air Venus. If you're since 2021, it's Air Venus. Yes, I still do, just not as much. I was like, it's the fact that I can like tone down the area. I was like, all right, if you were here for like 2021, you knew me as Air Venus. I can pinpoint you motherfuckers. I was like, so some of y'all fuckers have known me for over 2 years. And that's ominous as fuck. I'm just like, please don't crash. You just worked like 2 minutes. You worked 5 minutes ago. Please. Please. Shit. Alright, hold up. We're gonna exit out of some things. It worked perfectly fine. Literally not too long ago. And now it just wants to spite me. Please, good sir. I don't have that many mods running. I don't have that many mods running. I swear I don't. I swear I don't. Alright, we're trying this again. I still can't get over that there's some people who like have actually known me for like 2 years streaming. there it is. Please, I gotta go see Apple. I gotta go see the fucking thing I will die for. Please. I fucking love that. God damn, hold up. When was the last time we actually used this? Oh my god, it has been almost a year since one of us has touched the introduction area. Come on, please, please work, please. I will actually be sad. Oh shit, no, please. God fucking damn it, why? It just knows. It's here to spite Adobe. Not Adobe. The fuck? OBS. My bad. Holy shit! I just had to be patient. I just had to be patient. My boy. I don't give a fuck about your humidity. Game works, game works. I would also like to very much preface that I now have the mods, so I'm gonna be a little bit of a mess. Not a mess, a menace. Oh shit. New people. Oh, why is the bitch not happy? What? They find out where is Lewis? You know what, it's fine. What if someone hears you? They might find out about me and... Chill, Lulu, no one cares anyway, I gotta go. Still got lots of paperwork to do. Feel nice if you just shouted me along, by the way. Stop calling me that, and it's your own fault for procrastinating all the time. Lewis just non-existence. No can do, Lulu, it's her big sister. Anyways, gotta go. Gotta catch the cable car before it fills up. Take care now. There he is. Yes, if you didn't know, I changed my name. I know, go by Rin. Because someone does not deserve the right to have my name in their mouth. So yeah, I go by Rin. Woo! Oh, nice seeing you. So, how much of that did you hear, Lenny? Mostly everything. My older sister just came by to give me the Ridgeside financial reports from last year. Ridgeside Village. Oh, your grandpa never told you. They're a neighborhood in the mountains in the west. You can use a cable car over the head up there if you like. The cable car is a marvel of engineering. Who knows how they paid for it? Oh, pfft. I did hear that someone in the village has close ties to the governor. Ah. Anyways, go visit when you have the time at part of the tourism whenever you goes to Pelican Town, you know. Am I just the bitch? I never fixed the cat. Better get back to town. Goodbye now, Rin. I just realized I never fixed the cat on my screen. Because he's supposed to say hi to everyone. Great. Alright, Ridgeside Village. Huh. It is sometime soon. Oh, we're going to. But first, we gotta go see this bitch. I'm kidding. Robin's the best. Okay. Okay, yeah, that mod did get taken out. So I guess it was just a little funny haha thing. Okay, listen. Listen. I don't care who the fuck you are. I will die for this man. I've only known Apple for less than 24 hours and I will die for him. And that is a goddamn threat. If anything happens to this tiny son of a bitch, I will actually lose my shit. Also, you might be noticing there is a lot of new people. Edit the rich side mod. All my modding friends might actually murder me. But it's fine. I do need to clean this area. Also, a bunch of shit happened last night. I got to floor 100 in the Skull Cavern. Apparently, my character now knows rune magic, which is very interesting. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I met Apple, and now Penny actually has a... Not Penny. Pam has a house now. Hi, Rin. Hey, Rin. Hi. So, what do you think? You may see the new window panels on the roof. There's a green space to grow plants up there now. Could have fixed it without the materials you gather. I actually had a lot of fun and learned some new things. This bottom floor would be great for aging wine. Well, enjoy the refurbished shit. Shed. So yeah, this is just a nice little area. Can I actually cook in here? That'd be cool. We have a place to grow more shit. You. Yes? Sorry, maybe another time. I never fucking see you. What do you like? Do I have anything she likes? Probably not, because I never fucking see this bitch. Do I have any? Damn. I'm trying not to rely on cheats too much, but also I really fucking want to. Listen, as much as they're shit, they're good, like... Hey, new person! Kenneth, I check the lamps in towns every week just to be safe. I know I'm a huge worry about these sort of things. Where song is this from? I was about to be like, I guarantee it's Kingdom Hearts. Alright, so he's single. She's also single. Damn. Oh, who are you? Madam! She just my type. Ah, yes, the one bad thing is about... It's good dating. Aw. Damn it, I need to get the mod that, like, lets me get rid... Oh, that's a child! Hold up! Vincent's a good buddy of mine. He's fun to be around. I wonder if I should sell seeds. I don't think I know much about it, though. Lorenzo... Have you met my daughter? Her name is Court. You can be friends with her, you better be real nice to her. Listen, I'm already kind of down bad for another character. Why are you all coming? Hey, see you been around. Hope he's getting along with the other kids. Pretty sure he was right in front of me. Very tired to travel from the village to the beach every day, but I love my daughter. I want to give her the best. You have a daughter? Interesting. I'm learning lore. Let's see. Who can I be a menace to society for? Morgan and Magnus is up there. Andy. Apples! Game work. Game work. I just have to be a little bit patient and not a bitch. Hey, they're friends. Yeah, I actually got rid of. Damn, y'all got so much fucking grass. Holy shit. Who are you? You're Gucci. My cats are being a little bit crazy today, so ignore them. It's Wednesday, so she's not here. There needs to be a day where I just fucking clear out this area. I also do need to make my farm nice and clean. They also redid the secret forest. It's so nice. You want to try that again? I got the slime ring, which is like the best ring I got. For some reason, my key is like not working sometimes, and that's kind of scary, seeing how often I use shit with my D key. Shut the fuck up. I know some of you. Ah, sup. Special for the, you know, I knew you were special from the first time we met. And I have to admit, I found it quite charming when you took that whiff from my cauldron and went so green, I thought you were going to turn into a frog. You visit a lot. Are you a mage too? I sense your magic. Kid, you literally witnessed me learn, like warp magic? The fuck do you mean I'm here often? Yes, I wonder why I'm here often. And it's not because I want to fuck the wizard. What? I didn't say shit. Time to go see my boy. Time to go see my son. I do not care what anyone else thinks. Apples is my kid, and I will die on this hill. Where is he? There he is! Apple's not well today. You pet apples. I said I would die on this hill. They added so many fine NPCs. Also, yes, there's an obscene amount of starfruit there. There's a reason. Okay. Listen, I never said I wasn't gonna fuck around and find out. I keep getting fucking cutscenes. It's fucking cut day. It's fucking cutscene day today. Oh, hi, Rin. Hi. We're not gonna bully the cute cosplayer. I've been better. Why are you asking? You want to pet Dusty with me? Dusty? I like that. Sure, let's go. You're petting the fucking dog with me. Why is Dusty on top of...
Oh my goodness, aren't you just so adorable?
Listen.
You gave Dusty many pets. Sophia laughs. She feels better.
Hey.
Hey, Ren. How's the farm life? Oh, going fine. That's nice.
Oh. Fuck! I missed Olivia's birthday!
It's Phillips and then it's Pat. Holy shit.
There's so many fucking birthdays now. I don't have coffee for him, I don't think. Let me in. Man's not even here.
The good man put me in charge of the town's public gardens. I've been working on the town's flower beds for weeks, so don't step on them.
I won't. Where's this bitch at? Wednesday? Oh, he's here. Lovely.
I'm just gonna do a casual little...
It's fucking cutscene! Why the fuck are you two fighting?
I just can't get this jar open.
Hey.
Oh, it's you, Rin. It's you, Rin, right?
I have been here for 5 years.
Pretty strong, aren't you?
Yes. Great. Then you should have any problem opening this jar for me.
Got it.
Hey, you did it. You're stronger than you look.
Thanks.
Hello?
Looks like a good day to play catch, huh? Go on, just kidding. I'm glad the flowers are starting to bloom. Those pink ones smell so good. Hi, Ren. She knew we'd come close like this.
That's a little bit gay. I'm kidding. Let me in. I know this is a dark room.
Oh shit, I do have cloth. Listen, brain kind of goes a burr a little bit. Alright.
That's fair, and I can honestly respect it. Why does my hand hurt? My entire body has gone through the wonderful phases of pain.
Tax collection, spring festive expenses. Yes?
Oh, y'all need to meet the fucking chicken. It's the fact that Wayward and Soul joined a call yesterday, and you can hear me just go, "Is that a fucking chicken?" Oh, I also finally fucking got rid of the bear. Hey, it's you fucks.
You've been here a while now, haven't you? Your farm must be thriving.
A little bit.
The forest is a wonderful place. Have you been there?
Yes. I'm there frequently. I'm there a little bit too often. Oh, one of you's gonna hate me for this. Fuck that game, I don't care.
I love doing that. Hey. Seasons are the only common night in the rain. Oh, wait, there was another area unlocked. That I didn't fucking mean to. So if you follow my Twitter, which I'm not advertising you should, but it would be kind of cool if you did. You would have seen my wait, what tweet? This is what it's been about. I have no way, shape, or form 100% this game whatsoever. Oh, hey, there's Krobus. There's the other name. Interesting. Because if you look at this, yeah, I have not in any way, shape, or form done this. How am I still missing 3 fucking notes? I don't know how. It just kind of happened. So that was fun. That's neat to know. RIP that person. Ah, you. Having a productive day today? Not really. I crafted something to change myself. I need to find an ostrich egg. Like, my ADHD brain's going burr, but I originally did this. I need to quit with this shit! Follow me, Rin. Don't stray too far. I'm sorry, you wanted to meet me here? You said the Secret Woods. I went to the Secret Woods. Mana flows freely in the secluded grove. It's a perfect location for your nexus. With our combined magic and my guidance, we can alter the flow of time here. Come, channel your mana. I hate when things use that word. Oh, God. Rin, open your eyes. What did I do? Magnificent, isn't it? Your enchanted grove is the safeguard from the changing seasons, weather, and prying eyes. We're not quite done yet. You still need to create your first warp point. I believe it's only suitable if it is to my own nexus. Let us depart to my warp hall when. So you're telling me I got 3 separate places! 3 separate places! During the lesson, I explained that in order to connect your equation to your nexus, you need something that came into being there. I brewed this potion today in this very tower. It's suitable enough to complete the spell. You received a wizard's potion. Place the potion on the hex and summon your warp runes, Rin. Well done, the warp room linked to your nexus successfully. Why don't you teleport there? It will be a sight to behold.
Sorry, Nara. Hey, friend.
Tomes, owl statues, a hex circle, and the smell of fresh moss. I wouldn't have expected anything else. Seek out other areas of interest and expand your nexus. In due time, a colleague of mine will pay you a visit. Well done, I knew there was something special about you the moment you set foot in Stardew. I wonder what else I can summon warp runes.
Casually gets stuck. Nothing to see there. Shut the fuck up. Shut the...
Aerobic enchanting growth that grows in the nexus grants magical ability until the next sun.
Oh my god.
Hey, I feel like we're becoming a wizarding family. My nexus is a bit old-fashioned, but I prefer it that way. I believe your nexus is suited for 8 warp points, which is more than what mine has. Shit. To Enchanted Grove. Oh, that's to her hut. Oh my god.
I have just become a child of the forest. I'll see you outside the time frozen in caves. Nah, you can get the fuck out of my face. Alright, to sleep I go. It's also ungodly cold here, even though where I live it's fucking hot. Alright. We are going... Actually, what's on the... Living off the land. Use this to your advantage. Try my best to make human food. I got a strange bun. I love him. I should have sold the fish. I had like the 2 fishes I got. I hear you, Nilly. Big egg. That. Keeping those. Pause. 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 Shut the fuck up. You're fucking telling me that I can just make those and go and I can. Do you know how easy this is gonna be to get from place to place? I can get to Ginger Island and to whatever the fuck the desert so easily. What do you mean? Hi, Sushi. Sushi's watching me have an actual accidental breakdown or accidental crisis. Nox, I think y'all deserve to see some sush. He's losing some fur because again it's summer. But we love and appreciate sushi in this household. There you go, buddy. He also pulled. I'm grabbing my jacket. Or technically Nyx's jacket that I stole from her, but she probably knows now. Sorry, bestie. This is about to be incredibly fucking fun. Here are the animals. Oh, I also got the last house upgrade, which you would have known if you... Oh, also, yeah. Alright, let's go meet the Ridgeside people, and then I'll do what this stream originally was supposed to be, where I just build on my farm. There we go, just make that a little bit easier. Also, warning. Please secure your horses in the horses compartment. We do not want another Pegasus incident, Lenny. And then over there is fucking the grave. Oh, hey. Willie recently told Blair that she is so good. He even said she'll make a good student assistant. I'm so proud of my Mija. She's really nothing like her father. Sushi's just chilling. Sushi's just like, hello? Shot. There's a kiwi fruit in front of you. It moved. Shoo. Hey, I know your friend Apple. What was that? Was that a Junimo? What was it doing here? I wonder what it was doing here. Oh. That's not ominous. Is this the fucking Stray soundtrack? Yep. I swear I don't play Stray enough. I swear I don't have the fucking Stray music saved. I swear I don't. Okay. It's literally just the same horse sign. Hello? It's some kind of crystal. Upon looking closer, you can barely see what seems to be a small island and waterfall. It looks to be one of the structures on your farm. Truly mysterious. One of my... Ugh. Oh, good. A bunch of rich people. And done.
Looks rather tacky. Oh well, whatever works, I suppose. I do think it's a great idea from your brother, Lenny. Don't tell me you stole the idea from Lewis, Lenny. I'll have you know that I was there during their meeting and asked if I can establish one in Ridgeside as well. It's all good. Why, hello, Rin. Just in time for the new surprise. Aloha. It's lovely, isn't it? It's a board for posting special orders. Lewis must have informed you of something like this already. I actually need to do more special orders. I never do them enough. Well, then, I don't need to explain any more. Feel free to check the board from time to time. It has the same schedule as Pelican Town Board, so keep that in mind. It means that it will probably start receiving orders by next week. I expect you won't let anyone down. You get that, farmer. I have a name, and it's Rin. Fuck you. Now, Madam Maeve. You must be missing your early tea today. Thank you. Madam, come visit the restaurant after this. I'll be sure a tea will cheer up a grumpy morning. I humbly accept your offer, Pika. And Richard? But seriously, Rin, do try your best with the orders. I'll be looking forward to working with you some. Have fun, everyone. Remember to check the board next week, Rin. Yeah, the cutscenes are kind of out of order. Hello there, Rin. How was the cable car ride? Welcome to Ridgeside Valley, a valley on the side of the ridge. The slogan is work in progress. I guess you finally read the letter he gave you. I'm the one and only Lenny. Please hold your applause until after the tour. I'm the Chief Administration Office of Ridgeside. It's a complicated way of saying she who does the paperwork. We don't get a lot of visitors from outside the valley, so we are really happy to see you. It's been a while since anyone lived in that crusty old cottage on Twitchville Farm. It was owned by a good friend of mine, so I hope you'll take good care of it. A good friend indeed. You mean my grandfather? Let me show you around town. With a quick tour. Buckle up, buckaroo. First, we have the Log Cabin Hotel. A great place to relax after a long hiking through the mountains. It has a private balcony for events and even a gym on the third floor if you're still not worn after your hike. This is also stray, isn't it? This right here is the town square. It's the beating heart of the village. Folks like to hang around here and socialize with townspeople, weather permitting. Up these stairs, does the magic happen? Shit. Oh no, it's Connor's theme. I forgot I added the Detroit Become Human soundtrack. Thanks, Kat, also for that. It's made of wood, bricks, and paperwork. It occasionally visits Lewis regarding sexual duties, or just to tease him for taking himself too seriously. It's my Yovagiven right as a sister. Is that is those children I see? Smell that? That's Pika. Oh, Pika, and the primary hub for the Ridgeside cuisines. I like the dishes you serve, and I love the atmosphere. Don't even get me started on the view. Don't look down, though. If you do, don't blame me when you start feeling nauseous. What are you both doing? Feast your eyes on the Starboard stage. Robin and Clint helped us build this stage for gathering activities. Who the fuck are you two? I know you're Kiwi, but who are you? It doesn't seem much use lately. It's a shame to tell the truth. Local morale hasn't been all-time either. There are rumors around of the strange, dangerous food and spooky. I can assure you, there's nothing but rumor. God, who the fuck is fucking upstairs? It's only dangerous food and the pumpkins during Spirit Eve. There are several other farms living in the village. Jack's farm, the Blooming Hill farm, is located northwest. He must have made mushrooms because he's a fun guy. Get it? But seriously, he's selling useful farming products. We also have Nightgale Orchid. Southwest, run by Lind and her niece, Alyssa. Alyssa's a sweet young lady with a wonderful voice. She lacks the confidence to perform. Unfortunately, perhaps someone special can help her find herself. That concludes the grand tour. I wish you a warm welcome to the Valley Inn and even warmer welcome to Richside Valley. Oh god, why am I all the way down here? Who are you? Unless it's about my work, I don't want to hear it. Especially not on a weekday. Fucking hell, who's rich? Whose house am I in? Understandable. I'm just gonna leave. Damn, I was like, what y'all shit you got in your trash can? Nature has seemed to swallow this broken down car. It seems like one of the structures from your farm. Trini's been bugging me to help her with Kia. That little girl is so feisty. Hello, ma'am. Doing well? Yeah. You hug this tree and you're afraid people will judge you. The chicken seems... Huh. What's up? Hope the day's treating you well. What's that? Bryn? What now? Speak or shut up. Shit. Oh, hi. This place probably seems quiet compared to the city, but we have our own excitement. You just gotta know where to look for it. She's pretty. Alright, who the fuck are you? Mysteriously seems to be marking a map. Hold up, my cats are like investigating my front door. What are you little fucks doing? Huh? What are you doing? It is not time. Stop it. You are not going outside in the hallway. No. You are not doing that.
I'll pick both of you up and drag you to the bed.
Stop sniffing the door. Sush. Here. See? You go that way. No. This way. That way. Go. Go. Alright, who the fuck are you? It seems the late grandfather's grandchild has arrived to the village. What? The spirits greet you, farmer. I'm a nameless traveler, but you can refer me as who? Who the fuck are you? You can see the true shape of my ears. Well, that's certainly a surprise. Usually the seer's magic hides my true form to humans. But I doubt people would believe you anyways. Can we even be considered human anymore? Interesting. What? Nothing. If you excuse me, I have to go. Okay, shit. What was that about? I was about to say, I don't think that you can classify the farmer as human. Ooh. Oh, so that's where you go, motherfucker. It seems something's blocking the way. One day, you might surpass me, but that day is far away, Ren. Wrapped by a snake. Her eyes seem to follow you. Keep an eye on the old man's farm. Await further instructions. H. Fuck. Why have I hit main character energy? I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for the main character energy. Hey, y'all want to go stab a serpent? Also, I would like to very formally apologize to Soul and Wayward that we can no longer play multiplayer because of the amount of shit I have downloaded. What the fuck is this? Is this just fucking cutscene day? Brave of you to wander beyond the ridge. The barrier created by the mountain spirits ends here. Wander further presents danger. Consider this a warning. What danger? You ignorant fool. They're a bit sturdier than I remember. This place holds a secret. Since you will be risking your life to wander here, I would rather not miss the opportunity to know more about this place. In exchange for the information you give me, I will grant you valuable items for some spirit essence. Come see me at my cabin if you are interested. And alive. Good luck and try not to die. Right. That's literally the only thing I have to do. The fuck are you? There's a wooden crater blocking the entrance tents. I wonder who owns this. Ow! Fuck! Okay, some of you actually do some damage. Fun. Never forget the joke I made to my friends of cheese. Fucking hell, ow. The joke cheese. The joke cheese? The cheese joke is our favorite joke now. I'm tempted just to put all my stats into knockback. What the fuck are you? Nah. What do you mean, miss? I just got jump scared by an ad. Oh my god. I'm fighting so many goddamn things. It's Skull Cavern all over again. No, not two of you! What the fuck? To be honest, I think I need to get a better weapon. A mysteriously glowing flower that blooms during rainy days in the densest forest. It doesn't emit any kind of smell at all. Oh, wonderful. Wait, is he even on the thing? He's not. Why can I not romanticize the elf? Why can I not romance the elf? You son of a bitch. Holy shit, he's not even on the map. Irene, Jarek. Lola, Lou. Damn. Listen, it's just a little bit easier to deal with. I'm telling you, my hand's on my D key, and sometimes it just wants to do a little silly. Damn. Damn. Your progress has been saved. What-de-do? Woo, Krobus is gonna be quiet. Because it's Friday. I did not mean that in any bitchy way. Alright, none of those are going. I think I need to make another chest. Just for, like, ridgeside things. I need 50 wood. Yeah, you can definitely tell some shit happened when I was doing things. No, wait. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do this for the Ridgeside stuff. So we have the... It's the fact that I have a very, like, system, and sometimes my brain even forgets that I have said system. I don't know why, I was half expecting someone to be outside my door. Oh, shit. There we go. I guess those have not been getting water. Also, yes, I expanded the little area here because I am planning on moving the barn and stuff to somewhere else. Yeah, also we got another pig. Nova. Thank you. So yeah, I might also have Marnie built another barn just so that I can have the pigs. Where the fuck is she? Oh, there she is. Nice. Oh, I can make cheese. Check here. Egg collection. I'll leave that. So yeah, I've been 100% meaning to like reorganize the farm. Oh shit, I can. Nice. Sell that, sell that. Definitely sell those. I also do need to organize my house a little bit more. I need to make things look nicer. Keyboard's like my heart, it shines RGB and it's full of blood. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I'm scared, pissed off and lonely. I have trouble speaking to women, it's the 2D or high definition. No time on social media that I'm in. It's like my brain, so I have it on dark mode. Revise everything she says, except to guess her passport. She's beauty, she's grace, but gorgeous face. To try to get more sponsors, try to get more sponsors. Why does she? 10 years of my life. Alright, we're also gonna make another chest that's gonna have all like the magical stuff. Give me a reason not to be on mine. Yes, I don't use cheats for everything. And this one's gonna be the nice, yeah. Yeah, so like that can go in there. Insane. She don't deserve my mental baggage. I said I was gonna do that, but then I fucking forgot to. I swear I'm sane, chat. Myself. That to myself. Just when I think my stupidity cannot surprise me, it does. Now you might be wondering, why are you throwing this all in here? Seeds. To get seeds. It's all together. We used to sleep on call together. I could always just very quickly, like, head over to... I swear I'm sane. You know what? Fuck it. I'll let the song play. Yeah, remember how I said I was gonna be doing shit? Yeah, no, fuck that. Brain said we're actually gonna play the fucking game. Rin, come here. Yes, I named the horse before I decided to change it just because why the fuck not? My lady is here. I also just need to make like a goddamn like notes. Oh hey, there's Morgan. Rainbow trout, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. I will gladly take that. None of that was for me. I also didn't go see Apple, which is kind of like the main thing I usually do. Also, yes, welcome to the fucking hardwood crop area. This is literally just where I grow hardwood trees.
I know I'm really quiet and I don't mean to be, but
Yay.
Krubus, my wonderful little roommate.
Ooh.
Yeah, your card finally came.
December, so I have to spend money. Oh, shit.
Chat, did you hear that? We have to spend money.
Who said that?
You did.
Yeah.
Where did you go in there? Oh, I was looking for where the fuck this ended up.
Yes. Finally.
You go in there. Damn, it's the fact that my character goes to bed earlier than I do.
Yay.
The bitch does. My character literally goes to sleep before I do. Because the game literally makes you pass out at 2 a.m. It's great.
Perfect.
How much money did we make? Oh, $17,000. Mommy, proud of your daughter. Your daughter made $17,000 in one day.
Oh. 17,000 in one day?
Yeah, your child lives on a farm.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I literally just have creatures doing my bidding.
And then that creature keeps freaking beeping in here. You know about that?
What? What keeps beeping?
I mean, those cats are just
Not Junimos!
That's wonderful. I mean, great.
Is it up this button? Yep.
Just very, very awesome.
Oh, what have the cats been doing? What chaos have the little children been inciting on?
I didn't know we were gonna make.
It's almost another season where I can actually plant that flower. My brain just did a little burr. Alright. Pop those in there.
Partos, artos, et aramis. Partos, artos, et
Alright.
aramis.
Those are gonna take a while, but it's fine. I have aged wine growing. Or producing. I missed a spot. I did not miss a spot. I just couldn't fucking see that spot. Alright, sell the honey. I have a duck feather that I can give to another child. Up, what do you demand? 5.
Move.
Where the fuck do I get star shards in this? What? Yes, I also need to get you fucks in a better spot as well. Hi. Oh, I also tried to do the fucking, do I just have to give something to these things? I don't know. We'll do some fun research. Hey! Make house reservation, remove corner room, close the bedroom. No, we're not building a crib. Can we upgrade? Move building. Alright. I forgot you can also move the greenhouse. Actually, wait. Move you there. Move you there. Move you here. And move you here, because we're gonna move that as well. Yeah, they can stay right there. Oh God. There we go. And so then I can build the gate system around here. Just so then they can have that little area, and then we'll build another one somewhere else. And then I can have that connect. Oh, that feels weird. Yeah, that works. Oh god, you can see how uneven the path is. There we go. And then we have the trees. And then the garden. Alright, cool. I also do need to find an ostrich egg, which does not seem like a lot, but it's quite funny. Oh shit, it's raining. Funny enough, I need it to rain here. I forgot I did all this. Don't ask what that was for.
What is that?
Hi. Okay. One. I got one of them! I got one of them! Assuming you were there. For once in my life, things actually planned. God, I wish I had speed. Also, don't question how the fuck mostly everything is done here. Listen, the game just said, here you go. What did I say? What did I say? You good? Crow! Hi! How are you? Welcome in! I'm so sorry, I was not paying attention. But I think we honestly kind of sometimes expect me not to pay attention. I need to find a way to get there. Where the fuck is it? D-Key, now is not the time for you to be a little bit stupid. Where is it? Could it be at the top? Listen, no one judge me for shit. No one judge me for shit for having time frozen. Oh, I just love how it doesn't fucking rain up here. Oh, he's in Highlands. Listen, I'm going to say this. Fuck Highlands. It's spreading before my eyes. We're of money. Freedom cry, hear that love cries, this still must die. Shots, dice. Yeah, I don't know what universe that I got lucky, but like half of the things you're supposed to do, I didn't do. Well, actually lose my shit. It's one of the rare fucking times it rains in this game. What? Well, look who made it to my secret walnut room. Truly impressed. Even though it only needed a fraction of the walnuts to gain full access to the island, you decided to push yourself further. Your desire to enter the secret door was so strange that you went above and beyond to get inside. That drive is what sets you apart, kid. You got very special energy. That being said, you were under the impression that the challenge ended here, weren't you? No, hahaha. In fact, the challenge has just begun. On your left, you will find a board with some very interesting opportunities. These challenges, which I've designed just for you, will push you to your very limit. However, if you can successfully conquer my challenge, you will earn an exclusive currency I call Q-Gems. You don't put them in your mouth, kid. They're highly radioactive. You can use the machine on your right to trade these for for rare and powerful rewards. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Yes, I have a feeling someone like you will enjoy this very much. I opened this door as a funny little haha. I didn't expect to actually be able to get here. So, that's Gucci. Now, if you excuse me, I have important business to attend to. Is it just fucking cutscenes? Excuse me? Holy shit. This masquerade. Okay, wait. Find 100 of each red, orange, blue. Fuck no, I will not be able to do that. I have 9 days to place 100. Oh, cool. I'm collecting a fucking rainbow in 9 days. Actually, wait. masquerade. Oh, I also got rid of this fuck. You can see the floorings, which is hilarious. He was a bitch. We're about to see me do some very... What blue things are in this game? Other than fish. Gemstones? I almost just obliterated one of my own crops. Oh, shit. Oh yeah, that's a warp back home. I was like, what the fuck is that? Nah, I can murder you fucks for the green. I forgot about golden coconuts. Hey, friend. Holy shit, okay. I have one purple item. That's not fun. I mean, these look blue. So I got the blue one. I don't care, game. Oh damn, I really thought I can go inside. Oh fuck. Fuck! The sad thing is I guarantee I know exactly what technically counts as blue, and it's a shit ton of Asian fruit. Which, what did I just do? Turn it all into fucking seeds. Yeah, I was about to be like, we're not gonna know a lot this day. Yeah, as expected. Cool, thanks. Okay, so I got one of them. I cannot imagine all of them just being like, hey, so she's there, fuck! Do I have anything for this kid? He's about to have a golden coconut. Oh, shit. You do not think I will not do that to make sure that this kid doesn't despise me? You're wrong. It's also day 21 of spring. I almost played an entire season offline.
Cats off my thing.
Just about to say, I know it takes patience for this game to load now because there's so many fucking mods. Yeah, I'll take that. I forgot this kid fucking loves mangoes. Oi, kid. I got something for you before I dip. Oh, it's the 4 hearts. Buried near bones. So I need to check continuously when it's raining so I can get the gems from the birds. We'll return for a little bit. I could have just used the warp. I kind of forgot about that. Oh, it's fucking cutscene. It's always good to see another soldier return. How are you holding up? It's been hard. Everything is so quiet, it's so frightening. Sometimes I wake up at night and don't even recognize where I am. It's all so confusing. How'd you do it? Ezekiel. You never seem bothered by it now. A long time ago, eventually I just noticed that the fear had mostly gone away. Besides, Flora was so much more different time for me then. What do you mean? After Ellen passed, I didn't know what I should do with the fear of the war coming here as well. The army. The army just felt right for me. It was hard to mind. It was a hard time, mind you, but it helped having something to focus on, knowing that I could protect my core and back home. There's some good kids here as well. Don't forget that. It may be hard right now, but soon enough things will almost feel normal again. Thanks, Ezekiel. It's nice to be able to talk to someone who understands. Lore? Oh my goodness, we're learning lore? It's locked. Mr. Q about to be a really fucking rich man. So I'm pretty sure I have. There's a bug flying around. Yeah, this will work for blue. Sacrifice the one blueberry for seeds. Taking the parsnips. What else do we have? These might do for... Fuck. Got my own organization sometimes. Pop that in there. Oh god, it feels weird seeing the farm like this now. Yeah, they have all that. So then yeah, I'll build the gate. Mr. Hughes is gonna keep like seeing everything. It's gonna be so funny. He's like, what is happening? The fuck is field office? Never mind, cutscene. Cool. I was about to say, I'm surprised I haven't gotten his fourth heart. Sorry. It's hard to remember to talk normally. You think I'm weird, don't you? Squawk loudly. Not at all. Thanks for saying that. Sometimes I wonder how different life would be if I never washed up on this island. Back home, I really didn't care about birds. I never thought to listen to what they might be saying. This is Connor's themes playing. You know, I guess that's normal for normal kids. wonder what normal kids would have to say about me. Do you think I could ever be a normal kid again? Yes. I guess you're right. Though living on this island has given me a lot of experience normal kids would never have. If it weren't for the parrots, who knows what would have happened to me. I'm happy I met them, always considering them to be my family, even if it makes me a little strange. Anyways, thanks for talking to me, Rin. Maybe someday you can be a part of our family too. Here, let me teach you how to say let's play in parrot talk. I can now speak parrot. I can add that to my list of things my character can speak. Mr. Q! Oh, I see people on the map. Mr. Q, I got shit! That was painful. Fuck. Fuck it. So I have the orange and the purple. I literally just need 10 more for the green. I see you. Come here. I already got the skull. This is Halloween. No. I want that boy. This is Halloween. Oh, I'll take the fish bait. Okay.
Stop, kiddo.
I never thought I'd see a new face on this island, but I'm glad you're here. Birdie deserves the world. Oh yeah, I forgot I appeased you. Good to see you again, Bamboo Friend. I hope you've grown that big bamboo fruit. Oh, hey! I think this place would be a good destination for a second honeymoon. I'd love to take a stroll around here with the ship. But I'm glad I came out here. I'm also really glad I'm wearing sandals. The sun is really hot. I don't think I've met you. Look at the sea, Ren. Isn't it peaceful? Oh, yeah, some people are here. That's my farm. Okay. I'm kind of sad they don't have like the other ones, but it's fine. Sandy Shop, Casino, Skull Cavern. Bathhouse. Head to the farm really quickly. Because I don't need that, because I already completed that.
Okay.
Oh, listen, I'm just trying to look for what I don't have. This place is my home now. I'm happy here. I'm gonna hug this little fucker. Okay. I'm going to laugh if the bombs actually work as red.
Huh.
Try the hardwood, why not? Oh, that's right, the cherries. Give me the rest of the fibers. Listen, we're just moving around a lot. Don't mind us. I really wish they had a fucking easier one. What's the forge? Very top. Fuck. Forgot about that. Mr. Q, I got some shit. Mr. Q. Can you just imagine Mr. Q just seeing the farmer with like a backpack full of shit, just like knocking us, just being like, I have things. You know, it's fine, I can make more. 55, 55. I need more blue items. Fuck. When the fuck did I have that turned on? Okay, it's fine. We don't have time. We need the blue shit. What the fuck else is blue in this game? Maybe the golden ore would work. Since apparently it's letting me put things that are from, you know, not blue. Or not from the base game into there. Let's try that. They really need to add a fucking warp to Mr. Q's place. I can also just imagine like Leo just seeing the farmer just holding their things being like, I got it. And then being very worried. Fuck!
Tacos?
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, there's no way I have. I was like,
Right. Well,
there's no way I 100% this game. I have only 25% this game. Which makes the most sense. It didn't take the fucking salmon. He's very interested in those fish. Alright, we'll do this and then I will actually start working on making the farm all nice.
oops.
I'm also very low on all of that, my goodness. I blew shit. Let's go in the fridge. And I just love the idea of the farmer just like running around just being like, I need blue things. And everyone's just like, what? And everyone's just looking at this poor farmer who's like slowly losing their mind, just like, listen, I have no time to explain. Damn, shit. I really need to do that. What the fuck else is blue in this game? Blueberry. Oh shit. Hey, bud. Honk to you too. Give me those. Give me these. I have a week. Do they even have this blue? I don't know. I love how this is just technically an easy way to get into the villager's house. Or not the villagers? The wizard's house. Yo. Hi. Morgan doesn't feel like talking. Understandable. 7 words, which is more than mine, as if for to be old-fashioned. Mountains. I don't know why I was half expecting a cutscene. Swear I'm not going to, but fuck. Huh. An ember blood lime sapling. What? I'm honestly just seeing if this works. Yeah, why would it? I just got an achievement. I have 35, so I can get 2 tuna mud chests, 3 chop. On the birthdays. Alright. Alright, time to go back to what I said I was going to do. Not that. And we're just gonna work on the farm, make it look pretty. So just get Actually, wait. Scared. Just scared of the future. Oh cool, there's more saplings I need to find. Decor other? Flooring of blend room. There we go. That's what I wanted. Pretty sure these are the ones, right? Yep. Pretty sure through my fence is somewhere. So is where we're gonna rise. Get me out of this. Like I swear to God I had them. Alright. About to make this place look nice. Yeah, we're just gonna close off that area. Food. Just gonna casually do that. Yay. Damn. Girly, why are you struggling so much? Yeah, that looks nicer. Who are you? Of course it's Nyx. 5 star shards? My goodness. The fuck do you mean? What do you mean you want those?
Sushi. You being funny?
There we go. You know what? That works. If I did not care about some of you emotionally, I would actually shut the door and let the wolves have you. That is an actual threat. Please tell me you do not eat Nyx. 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 Get in the barn.
Move, cat.
Sometimes this game just likes to spite me. Nyx, I swear to God, you better be in that fucking barn house or else I will shut the door. Nyx, get the fuck in the barn! If Nyx dies, it's not my fault.
Uh-oh.
Damn it. There we go.
Yay. Move, cats. Move, move, move.
Nah. I'm not playing this game today. Any other day, yeah, but not today. Alright, Flower. Damn. Sure, I'll fucking steal your money, Lewis. Flower dance. Okay, they still do the thing. Look at that. Look at that. Nyx is still alive. The bitch didn't fucking die. Alright. My pigs are happy. We're soon gonna have little pigs running around. Actually, I'm not sure. It's just because I'm pretty sure there's 4 people living in here. I think I know what to go. Man really said, go to the flower dance, enjoy yourself. As much as I know half of this. Isn't like ancient fruit wine. I still think it's, oh my god. Investments go up. I'm about to steal the wine market. I'm very tempted to go meet Kiwi. Shit, I gotta go see my Sid Apple. Backseat of bar, the backseat of my car, in the engine she's a star. might not be a little more friendly. Now, you need to calm down.
Apple. Excuse me.
Apple fat seeds, you take. Apple grow magic plant. Did he just give me an ancient fruit?
Well, Yo.
Apple friend here, yay!
I'm sorry, what?
Yay, shiny! Meep.
You know, I respect it. I respect the hustle. That was not his fork heart.
Appleseed's a good friend.
That was not his fork heart. If a man just said you can make warps, here.
Hi. Friend plays with apples.
Let's play. If you make this little creature ever sad, you are dead to me.
Play. We'll do the play.
I am just straight up chasing Apple. That is adorable and I love him. Wait, what? Ignore him. I'll leave you to whatever it is you're doing. Bye, farmer. You didn't see my son. You didn't see my kid.
Big man no see apple, only apple friend. Play with apple more.
Again, I will say this again. I will.
Apple friend, visit more now.
Again, I will keep saying this till the day I die. Every fucking time. Every fucking time. Hey, Ren. Oof. This is my cat's grave. His name was Dewey. I commissioned Robin to carve the tombstone for him in his honor. Dewey went missing shortly after my mom and I moved into the valley from Susie's city. He had just turned 2 years old and we don't know what happened to him. He just went missing. I was devastated. The whole town couldn't figure out how to find him. But no one had any luck. After several weeks, we accepted that he probably wasn't coming back. I should have been there for him. He must have been scared alone in a strange place. I hope that if he's out there, he finds his way home, no matter how much it takes. Oh shit, you changed your name. I didn't even realize. Beer we need to... I just saw Void. I did. Wow. That is a nice name. We thinking the same. We thinking the same. Who could I bully? Don't tell me it's his birthday. Whoopsie. God damn! I'm so glad to see you again! Swear to God. I am so happy to see you! Practicing my yoga for years. And the lotus. Sing. I don't think I have anything that she likes. I hate myself that I know what she likes. Listen, I'm not down horrendous. I'm just the right amount of down bad for this woman. So I have 3 out of the 4. What the fuck else? I keep forgetting what she looks. It's brighter. Madam, you have a whole house. I make the joke being like, it's cutscene. Cutscene. Hey kid. Hi. You caught me praying. You being religious? This is my new sign off the vessel statue. Ordered from Jojo.com with the 2-day... Don't tell Pierre. I won't say anything. I'm setting into the new house. It's a really great place. Feels like home already. I really do appreciate this new comfort. It's just... I should be so happy. But I haven't been able to cut back on the beer. I haven't changed at all. For a long time now, I've been feeling like there's something missing from my life, Rin. Listen! You think Stardew Valley's a cozy little farming simulator? Nah, someone got PTSD and multiple people got a drinking problem. I always thought it was about money, just being poor, you know, so I figured getting this house would solve everything, but it didn't. So that's why I ordered this statue. Listen, as much as I do not believe in God, I'm not going to put other people down. Well, look at me. I'm getting really sappy in my old age, aren't I? No, no, I can't do that. What? We're not gonna question. I'm not gonna steal someone's religious statue. You know what? We accept it. Nope. We're just gonna head right it back out. You give Dusty many pets. Listen, the doggo deserves everything. Who are the people that would help give me the warps then? I don't think Elliot would. Hey. Hang out or something? Sleeping feels nice, but sometimes I wish I could skip it. It feels like a time waster. Shit. I need a local anchor to help reduce their numbers. Oh shit, hey! I like to finish my paperwork early so I can relax the rest of the week. I'm not lazy, I'm effective. You know what? I understand perfectly. I still have to meet the rest of the people. I still need to go bully Kiwi. Oh yeah, I already got that one. Sup? He's expected. If your mind is too busy, you might miss it. Torque. Damn. Oh. Listen. Fly fucks. I was actually about to laugh my ass off if that worked. Why is Sophia? Oh, I left my horse over there. My bad. The fuck? Where's Susan? Susan's just off the map. I was gonna laugh if that worked. Like, concern? It's the fact that my brain did not think this was Spider Dance for a second and thought it was something completely different. I was actually about to let someone slap me. Susan? Susan? Madam? Where are you? Susan? Susan? Yep. It's kind of sad that I know what trees aren't supposed to be here. I need to get the bush removal mod. It's gonna be so much more easier. Susan? Are you okay? Do you need any assistance? Is she at the summit? Susan? Susan? I
Just almost just got stopped by a dandelion. Susan? Susan? Again, we just now learned I'm not even 20, not even 30% done yet. Somehow I got the summit. Susan? Susan? Where the fuck is my inventory full? Oh. Oh shit, nah. Susan? Susan? I'm assuming it's because the map isn't used to expanded. So it just sees all of these new areas and kind of just throws them where they're not supposed to be. Cause yeah, it would have pushed more up this way. Susan. Just the very concern of, where is Susan? Susan? It's not just the hunt for where the fuck is Susan? Susan? Madam? Well, if we don't see Susan, we can discern the worst. Because Scarlet, yeah, you're not supposed to see because she's never here. Wait, Gunther's walking? The man, the myth, the legend himself is walking? Oh yes, what's gonna try to jump scare me? We're just gonna keep checking the math for Susan. What the? Which one are you? Oh! You don't even hurt me! Susan's just Susan. We'll find her. We'll just find a random Susan somewhere. It's fine. We're going to ignore the ungodly amount of mixed seeds I possess. We are just going to. Alright. I see a sush. Yeah, I'm not surprised for a low amount of money. That is my call that I need to end stream. The sushi's getting angsty. And in a very I care more about my cat than a stream that's always been going on for 3 hours. Guess who's live? Guess who? Bacon Mom's live. I don't even care. It's Bacon Mom. I'm tired. I'm not streaming tomorrow. I'm And I gotta go take care of the cat who demands my ungodly amount of attention.